Blocking the sun? What a brilliantly terrible idea. Brought to you by the same people who can't even fix potholes. Imagine waking up in Britain, a land famous for skies the colour of dishwater, only to find that the government has decided to make it even gloomier. Yes, in all its infinite wisdom, the Labour government has greenlit experiments to block out the sun in a heroic attempt to tackle climate change. Who would have thought the solution to all of our problems on this rain-soaked island was more geoengineering and less sunshine? A grand idea involving spraying particles into the atmosphere to reflect sunlight away from Earth. In short, it's a plan to turn Britain into a slightly soggier version of Mordor, only with higher taxes and more misery. Frankly, it sounds less like a climate strategy and more like a plotline from The Simpsons. You know, the one where Mr. Burns builds a giant shield to block out the sun and boost his energy profits. But wait, it gets better! Billions upon billions of taxpayer money have been spent on solar panels to harness the very same sun we're about to block. It's almost like the masterminds behind this plan have forgotten that solar panels rely on, well, sunlight? Now, one might reasonably point out that the UK gets on average about 4 hours of sunlight a day in winter, and that's being generous. Seasonal affective disorder already impacts more people than those who rush to answer the tea bell at 4 p.m. Imagine how delightfully cheerful the nation will become once the sunlight is rationed out like wartime jam. And let's not even get started on the sheer hubris of thinking we can tinker with the climate without catastrophic consequences. Blocking the sun might cool the planet for a while, but could also trigger droughts, famines, and massive shifts in global weather patterns. It's a bit like discovering your house is too hot and deciding the best solution is to blow it up. Sure, it won't be hot anymore, but you'll have slightly bigger issues to worry about. Frankly, it feels like the Labour leadership has spent way too many nights binge-watching apocalyptic movie, between The Matrix, where humans scorch the sky to block solar power, only to enslave themselves in machine-run dystopia, and The Day After Tomorrow, where meddling with nature creates storms so powerful they freeze the whole of New York. You'd think they'd realise that blocking out the sun is usually step one in making life unbearable for everyone. Maybe it's time for Sir Keir and his mates to take a nice walk outdoors, preferably during one of the UK's sunny days, to reconnect with the wild idea that sunlight is good for living things. One can almost picture them gathered around a table in the dark, channeling their inner Mr. Burns, haunched over a plan to block out the sun, muttering, "Excellent," while Britain slowly withers into a grey, drizzly dystopia. And let's not forget that Mother Nature isn't a machine with a handy undo button. She's a living, breathing system that tends to react badly to being tampered with, especially by those who struggle to organise bin collections. Plants, animals and entire food chains are delicately balanced around current levels of sunlight. Mess with that, and you're not just dimming the sunlight but the entire ecosystem. Crops could fail, pollinators could vanish, fish stocks could collapse. Congratulations, you've cooled the planet, but we're all cold and bloody starving. The reality is this: if we start dimming the sun, we may unleash consequences we cannot control, reverse, or even predict. It's a scientific equivalent of poking a tiger with a stick because you're a bit chilly. Now, here's a madcap suggestion. Instead of trying to play God with the planet's thermostat, how about we focus on reducing carbon emissions, restoring natural ecosystems, and investing in clean energy? You know, the things we know already work, without the small risk of accidentally causing another ice age. Oh, and let's restore British values and humour while we're at it. Solar engineering or solar geoengineering isn't a solution. It's a desperate, dangerous distraction from the hard graft of genuine climate action. Worse, it reflects a mindset that still thinks we can tech our way out of environmental collapse without changing our behaviour. In short, the plan to block out the sun isn't just absurd. It's a Monty Python sketch that's come to life, except this time nobody is laughing. And everyone is still wearing 3 jumpers indoors just to keep warm. In conclusion, let's leave the sun alone, shall we? We need every scrap of light we can get. And besides, Britain already does a cracking job of blocking it out naturally. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.